It was a calm summer night on June 5, 2002, in Salt Lake City, Utah. The Smart family had gone to bed like any other night. 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart lay sleeping peacefully beside her 9-year-old sister Mary Catherine in their shared bedroom. The house was dark and quiet, but just after 1 a.m., that peace was shattered. A man crept through an open kitchen window, sliced through the screen, and tiptoed upstairs with terrifying intent. He wore dark clothes and held a knife. Elizabeth woke to find him standing above her, whispering that if she made a sound, he would kill her and her family. Paralyzed with fear, she obeyed. He led her out of the house, down the hallway, while Mary Catherine lay pretending to sleep, silently praying. The front door clicked shut, and Elizabeth Smart disappeared into the night, beginning one of the most haunting abduction cases in American history. If this story already has you on edge, don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that matter, and drop a comment with "Stay strong" to support survivors everywhere. The kidnapper wasn't a total stranger. Months earlier, the Smart family had encountered him. He had been panhandling downtown, calling himself Emmanuel. He looked clean-shaven, spiritual, even gentle. Elizabeth's mother, Lois, moved by compassion, handed him $5 and offered him a day's work fixing the roof. He came, worked quietly, and left. They never saw him again, until now. Elizabeth would later write in her memoir that he had studied her that day, watching her face, her voice, her movements. She had no idea that a predator had chosen her then and there. That innocent act of charity, meant to help someone in need, had accidentally introduced a dangerous man into their lives. His real name was Brian David Mitchell, a self-proclaimed prophet who believed he had a divine mission, and Elizabeth was at the center of it. When morning came and Elizabeth was nowhere to be found, panic set in. Mary Catherine, still trembling, finally told her parents what she had witnessed. Police rushed to the house. Neighbors searched the surrounding hills. Helicopters buzzed above. Every second mattered. But there were no signs, no tracks, no clues, just silence. The story quickly made headlines. Flyers with Elizabeth's face blanketed the city. Her family offered a $10,000 reward, which grew to $250,000 thanks to community donations. Over 16,000 tips came in, but none led anywhere. Every lead was a dead end. Days became weeks, and hope began to fade. Was Elizabeth still alive? Had she been taken far away? Her disappearance became national news. The public was watching, but the girl at the center of the story was suffering just beyond the spotlight, hidden in plain sight. Mitchell had taken Elizabeth into the forested foothills near her home, hiking for hours in darkness. There, hidden by trees, was a campsite. A woman waited, Wanda Barzee, Mitchell's wife. Elizabeth, still in pajamas, was forced into a mock wedding ceremony. Mitchell said God had chosen her as his new wife. Then, as Barzee watched, he raped Elizabeth. This horrific act became a daily reality. Elizabeth was tied to trees, denied food, sometimes drugged to keep her obedient. The isolation was total. Mitchell told her that if she tried to escape, he'd kill her family. Barzee, who could have helped, instead called her "my handmaiden," fully complicit in the abuse. Elizabeth was forced to wear long robes and veils to hide her identity. For 9 months, she was subjected to a living nightmare in the name of twisted prophecy. Meanwhile, her family never stopped searching. Volunteers on foot, horseback, helicopters, and planes combed Utah's mountains and valleys. Ed and Lois Smart held press conference after press conference. They appeared on national TV, begging for help. Elizabeth's story aired on America's Most Wanted and Larry King Live, but with so few clues, investigators grasped at straws. The attention grew massive. Some media outlets questioned whether the story got so much coverage because Elizabeth was white and from a middle-class family. Others pointed to similar cases like that of 7-year-old Alexis Patterson, a black girl who disappeared around the same time but received far less attention. Still, the mystery around Elizabeth's disappearance gripped the public. Why hadn't anyone seen her? Was she still nearby? And how could someone vanish without a trace? The police, desperate for answers, zeroed in on a former handyman, Richard Ricci. He had a long criminal record and had once worked at the smart home. He was arrested for unrelated burglary charges and became the main suspect in the media. But Ricci insisted he had nothing to do with Elizabeth's disappearance. While he sat in jail, Mitchell and Barzee actually attempted another break-in, this time at the home of Elizabeth's cousin. At 3 a.m., someone sliced through a window screen. The family dog barked, and the intruders fled. No one connected the incident to Elizabeth's case. Then, suddenly, Ricci suffered a brain hemorrhage in prison. He fell into a coma and died days later. The lead died with him. Authorities were back at square one, still missing the real monsters, and still failing to connect the dots. Months later, in October 2002, Mary Catherine had a breakthrough. She was lying in bed when it hit her. She recognized the kidnapper's voice. Emmanuel, the roof worker. That was him. She rushed to tell her parents, who were stunned. The family begged police to release a composite sketch, but for months investigators refused, fearing it would damage the investigation. Finally, in February 2003, the sketch was released. It aired on America's Most Wanted, and that night, everything changed. One viewer, Mitchell's own sister, recognized the face and called authorities. The photo also appeared in newspapers. People across Utah began calling in tips. The net was finally closing in. After 9 months of silence and horror, Elizabeth was about to be found. On March 12, 2003, in Sandy, Utah, a couple spotted a bearded man walking with 2 women in veils. Something felt off. They called police. Officers arrived and stopped them. One of the girls was quiet, eyes lowered. When asked her name, she hesitated. Mitchell told her not to speak, but after a pause, her lips parted. "I'm Elizabeth." That moment, 9 months in the making, stunned the world. The girl everyone feared was gone forever was alive. She was brought home to a flood of tears, relief, and questions. Her parents wept. The nation rejoiced. But the pain and trauma Elizabeth carried wouldn't fade easily. She had survived the unthinkable. And now, she had to rebuild her life, piece by piece. After her rescue, authorities admitted errors. They had wasted precious time on the wrong suspect. They had delayed releasing the sketch that could have found her sooner. But now, Mitchell and Barzee were in custody. What followed was a legal roller coaster. For years, both were declared mentally unfit to stand trial. Finally, in 2010, Mitchell was tried and convicted of kidnapping and transporting a minor for sexual purposes. He received a life sentence. Barzee, who testified against him, was sentenced to 15 years and later released in 2018, a decision Elizabeth called disturbing. Justice, though delayed, had finally come. But Elizabeth knew her true purpose now went beyond punishment. It was to protect others, to speak out, and to heal. Elizabeth Smart could have disappeared from public life. She had every right to. But instead, she chose to rise. She became an outspoken advocate for child safety and survivor empowerment. She testified before Congress, supported major legislation, and launched the Elizabeth Smart Foundation. She helped produce powerful films about abduction survivors. She wrote a best-selling memoir and shared her voice with courage and grace. Today, she's a mother of 3, living peacefully in Utah with her husband. Her story is not one of tragedy, it's one of triumph. As she once said, "They may have taken 9 months of my life, but I refuse to let them take one more day." And with that, Elizabeth Smart became not just a survivor, but a symbol of hope.